Welcome. I am Isaac Creel, and as the Chief of Monacan Chapter, I will be your Master of Ceremonies for tonight's Winter Banquet, reviewing the events of 2020. Due to complications concerning the current pandemic, this is the first ever virtual Winter Banquet for Shenandoah Lodge. This year, only a very few amount of people are able to be here physically. But do not worry, we are all observing social distancing guidelines for the pandemic. We will be discussing the events of last year 2020 and some upcoming events for this year 2021. Now would you please welcome Ben Chisholm, Shenandoah Lodge Chief, for the invocation.
A Scout is reverent. Please prepare yourself in the way you see fit. Great Scoutmaster of all Scouts, thank you for watching over us this year and allowing us to stay safe and continue to grow our leadership abilities and expand our skills and knowledge to adapt to this year. Please let that continue in the year 2021 until we can all meet again. In your name we pray, amen.
And now for the obligation of our order. I do hereby promise, on my honor as a Scout, that I will always and faithfully observe and preserve the traditions of the Order of the Arrow, Wimmockdink, Wingalasik, Wittahemaway. I will always regard the ties of brotherhood in the Order of the Arrow as lasting, and will seek to preserve a cheerful spirit even in the midst of irksome tasks and weighty responsibilities, and will endeavor, so far as in my power lies, to be unselfish in service and devotion to the welfare of others. 2.
Mr. Seeley has prepared a year in review video that we will be showing to you now. Thank you, Mr. Seeley, for the video. Now we will view our NOAC 2020 recap.
Hi, I'm Randy. I am the advisor for NOAC 2020 that did not happen, but I wanted to do a quick recap. Hold on just a second. Oh, here it is right here. Looky here. These patches, they're beautiful. They were designed by the Lodge. They're still available, but we had goodie bags. Oh, these are the ones that you can't see. These were the super duper secret special, not ever to be shown and mentioned again. But we had a great time. Ben Chisholm was our youth advisor, our youth leader. He did a great job planning. We're looking forward to going back to NOAC next time, but still available online are some goodie bags and some goodies. Oh, here, we'll go this way. Some goodie bags, some masks, there's some patches. So hopefully we'll see you again in NOAC 2024. 2. No, wait, is it? What is it? Hold up a finger. It's 2022. No, wait a minute. 2024. Hold on just a second. We'll see you at the next one.
Well, there's absolutely nothing that I can add to that, but thank you, Mr. Seeley, and thank you all for your participation at what would have been NOAC.
Thank you, Ben. And now we'll be moving on to Ian Creel, our Vice Chief of Committees, for the First Year Airman Award presentation.
Thank you, Isaac. The First Year Airman Award is an award given to the first-year members of the Order of the Arrow. They earn this award by completing their brotherhood in their first year and various requirements like attending lodge events, conclaves, and other OA events. It is my honor to award the First Year Airman of 2020 shown on the screen. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ian. And now Roger Burke will recognize the Vigil class of 2020.
Good evening. We're going to take a few moments now and step back to August and pay a little special homage to our newest class of Vigil members of Shenandoah Lodge. The National Office of Boy Scouts of America defines the Vigil honor as the highest honor that the Order of the Arrow can bestow upon its members for service to the Lodge, Council, and Scouting. Those inducted this year by Shenandoah Lodge are no exception to this. A collection of dedicated youth and adult airmen, all involved in different aspects of scouting throughout our council and lodge, have time and again answered the call to scouting. Because of this, Shenandoah Lodge is proud to have honored 11 individuals with the Vigil Honor Class of 2020. Our youth members initiated this year: Jonathan Kenny, Elangamat Who Heals, Ian Creel, Quick to Serve, Zach Collins, Young Eagle, Kyle Eichlin, Monacan Warrior, Eli Hattersley, Caring Chief, and Tim Gens, Big Quiet Bear. Ethan Moore, Happy One Who Does Good Work. The adult honorees this year included Linda Bryceland, Nurse Bear, Jason Hatterley, Cutter of Wood, John Lindegren, Great Bob White, Rob Moore, Diligent One Who Does Good Work, and Scott Lancy, Humble One Who Serves. Please join me in congratulating and welcoming our newest Vigil members for the class of 2020.
And now we will be hearing from Eli Hattersley for the Shenandoah Lodge rebranding presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eli Hattersley, and over the past few months, I've had the privilege of serving as the rebranding lead for Shenandoah Lodge. Our team has been tasked with finding an identity that represents both our local story and our heritage. After months of countless Zoom calls, Slack messages, and emails, I am proud to share that brand with you all here tonight. But before I do, I'd like to offer my sincere appreciation to the folks behind the scenes that made it all happen, or as I like to call them, the Totem Team. So Adam Sowers, Jonathan Thade, John Lindegren, Dave Seal, Roger Burke, Scott Lancy, Tom Greenwood, Ben Chisholm, Daniel Weitzel. To all of you, thank you for the countless hours that you put into this project. We could not have done it without you. And without further ado, I'd like to share with you the next brand of Shenandoah Lodge.
Every lodge tells a story. It's told in the cheerful service performed for camp and council. It's told in the traditions unique to its brothers. And it's told in its totem. For over 75 years, Shenandoah Lodge's story has been told in its innovation, its history of cheerful spirit, and its deep respect for both the natural world and the people who have lived in it since time immemorial. We also tell our story with our lodge totem. It's the outward symbol of the lodge every airman proudly sews onto his or her uniform. For 75 years, the chief has served our lodge well. Therefore, changing our totem, our symbol to the world, needs to be undertaken with great care and deep consideration. What do we want to be our outward symbol of the fire of cheerfulness we keep within ourselves? How do we continue to tell our story? One obvious place to look for inspiration is camp itself. The 414 acres of Camp Shenandoah host a plethora of natural wonders, and any number of them could be a worthy totem of our lodge. From the white-tailed deer who flit across the parade field grounds in the early morning to the fish sleeping out of Hope Lake in the evening, we have no shortage of natural symbols from which to choose. The name Shenandoah itself is another inspiration. Perhaps it was the inspiration for the current totem of the mighty chief. But the name Shenandoah represents more than just the chief. It has come to represent the entire valley from which our camp and much of our council resides. There are many etymologies for the name Shenandoah, but one of the more commonly known ones is that of the daughter of the stars. Perhaps that is why 88% of the submissions from the youth reference stars in some way. Stars are an important symbol in the order of the year. The ceremonial texts we use in inductions are perhaps the only constant among all variations in lodge traditions throughout the country. Mateo begins the preordainal ceremony by saying,
"We are gathered here together in the midst of this great forest, underneath the stars above us, gathered now to help and serve, cheerfully in our actions, lovingly in our reflections.
Be you steadfast as the pole star, self-reliant, undiscouraged."
Symbolically, the pole star represents our guiding principles as scouts, the oath and law. Shenandoah Lodge, as a brotherhood of cheerful service, points us to those lofty ideals by recognizing those within scouting who will guide others through leadership and service to the true purpose of scouting. It is only right that we choose a totem that points the way to these guiding principles. Another recurring suggestion from our youth was to include imagery of a bear. This too has great significance for our area. We often see the black bear in advertising for Shenandoah National Park. We also know that the bear has special significance for the Monacan Indian Nation, whose traditional home lies on Bear Mountain, and who has chosen to include the bear on their own symbol. The bear has also been a symbol etched in the sky for thousands of years in the form of constellations. The Iroquois people tell the story of the bear being chased by 7 hunters. When the hunters finally catch up and kill the bear in autumn, the blood turns the trees red. Today, the constellation Ursa Major is one of the best known in the sky, and perhaps a happy coincidence, the brightest stars in the constellation from the Big Dipper, which literally point to the pole star. The Totem Committee asked Dave Seal to put together some mock-ups of the ideas we gathered from the youth submissions. He has turned them alchemy-like into some incredible artwork that will usher in the next chapter of our story. We are proud to present the next totem for Shenandoah Lodge.
Thank you, Eli.
Whoa, let's just hold on for a second. It's Winter Banquet, but we've got a new lodge totem, so we need some new merchandise, don't we? Merchandise, that's where the real money in the Order of the Hour and Boy Scouts is made. So we've got a special offer for you. We don't want you to buy quite yet, but if you buy before midnight tonight, we've got a special bundle on all new Shenandoah Lodge merchandise with our new totem. We've got a hat. We've got a t-shirt, 2-panel front and back, full color panel on the back. We're also going to give you a 4-inch magnet and a special gift, all for the low price of $30. Now, the manufacturer's suggested retail price is $45 for these items, but if you order before midnight tonight, see it on the screen, you go to that website, you order before midnight tonight, you can get it all for $30. But there is a catch. If you haven't paid your dues yet, it's gonna cost you $40. That's right, you gotta be a dues paying member to take full advantage of the $30 discount on this bundle. Buy now, buy often, buy a lot, buy for your friends, but pay your dues first. Lodge Advisor out.
And now welcome back Ben Chisholm for the State of the Lodge address.
Thank you, Isaac. My name is Ben Chisholm. I'm your Shenandoah Lodge Chief for the year 2020 and 2021, and I'm here today to give you my State of the Lodge address. Scouts and Scouters, I'd like to begin by thanking each of you for your participation and motivation in keeping the Scouting program alive in the Virginia Headwaters Council throughout this difficult year. It is because of the endless passion from everyone that I can proudly say that Shenandoah Lodge has continued its legacy of innovation and greatness through the year 2020. Previous Lodge Chief Eli Hattersley concluded his address with a challenge. He said 2020 will be a year to reimagine, and the airmen of Shenandoah Lodge have done just that. The year began with the unfortunate cancellation of our spring fellowship and the SR7A conclave, but instead of letting that stop us, the leadership of Shenandoah Lodge began reimagining our next event. With this drive, we hosted the nation's very first completely virtual fellowship. At this virtual June fellowship, we hosted various training sessions and had guest speakers, including the Southern Region Chief Seth Greiling and National Chief Zach Schoenfeld. On top of this, we held our annual Vigil nomination meeting. As we entered the summer months, we were met with another disappointment with the cancellation of NOAC, but yet again, Shenandoah Lodge prevailed. We immediately began reimagining our annual August fellowship. 2020 was a year of firsts for Shenandoah Lodge, as we were the first lodge in the country to successfully host an in-person induction weekend since March. At this event, we inducted 16 new brothers, sealed the membership of 10 airmen in their brotherhood ceremony, and recognized 11 extraordinary airmen with the Vigil honor. The milestones didn't stop here. At this event, we took a massive first step in changing our totem. With the intent of being proactive, Shenandoah Lodge has officially been rebranded after adopting the black bear as our new totem. To conclude the event, we hosted our annual lodge elections, where Shenandoah Lodge elected Leah Marshall as the lodge's first female airman to serve as a lodge vice chief. Saponi chapter continued this trend and elected Trinity McDonald as the first female to serve as a chapter chief. Typically, the lodge slows down in the fall, but not this year. We had our annual fall fellowship where we inducted another 28 new airmen and had 7 members complete their brotherhood. We also participated in the SR7A Day of Giving fundraiser, where the airmen of Shenandoah Lodge, along with a few outside donors, raised just over $2,300 for the Virginia Headwaters Council. This money will be used to begin construction of the much-needed changing station at the Camp Shenandoah waterfront. Continuing through the months, we participated in the national induction opportunity known as Momentum Spark. Through this event, we inducted 8 new members from the comfort of their own homes. And while this event was going on, we concluded our fall activities with our annual one day of service. At this event, more than twice the number of airmen as last year's event came together at Natural Bridge State Park to provide their cheerful service. As I'm sure you can tell, much of what I just said is very different than in the past years. From virtual inductions to cancellation of events, the year 2020 has put everyone to the test, but Shenandoah Lodge has come out on top. Our innovation has not gone unnoticed. We are one of 8 lodges in the nation selected for the E. Erner Goodman Camping Award as a recognition of the lodge's effectiveness in promoting and supporting scout camping in our council. My only goal in this address was to avoid the phrase COVID-19. Despite that being the reason for these hardships, it is not what Shenandoah Lodge focused on. Instead, we focused on how we can keep the Order of the Arrow thriving within the Virginia Headwaters Council. Of course, the worldwide shutdown was on our minds, but we did not let it limit us. We used it as a reason to think outside the box and try new ways of doing things. My challenge to each of you is to break out of the box, no matter what you believe is keeping you inside it. If Shenandoah Lodge can do it safely, then surely we can all do it as individuals. In 2021, we will continue this way of reimagining and build off the legacy set by the incredible airmen of Shenandoah Lodge. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. And now will you welcome the Supreme Chief of the Fire, Jim Battaglia, for the presentation of our James E. West Fellows.
Hello, Scouts and Scouters. On behalf of the Virginia Headwaters Council, Boy Scouts of America, and Lodge 258, we are proud to present this year's award recipient for the James E. West Fellow to Ben Chisholm. Each year, the Lodge donates $1,000 to the Council Endowment Fund through the James E. West Fellowship Award. Ben, congratulations on this award.
Thank you, Jim. And now will you welcome our OA Southern Region Chairman, Mike White, for the Founders Awards presentation.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike White, and I serve as the Southern Region Order of the Arrow Chairman, where I work with our Region Chief to oversee the OA program in 13 states, 11 OA sections, and 86 Order of the Arrow lodges from across the South, from Texas to Florida to Virginia and everywhere in between. But far more importantly, I grew up in and am a proud member of Shenandoah Lodge 258, and it is my honor to make our Lodge's Founders Award presentations this evening. In 1982, the National Order of the Arrow Committee established the Founders Award for recognition of those airmen who've rendered outstanding service to the Order of the Arrow on the Lodge level. To ensure the award would remain prestigious, the National Committee has limited the number of awards that a lodge may present each year based on that lodge's membership. Shenandoah Lodge may present a maximum of 2 Founders Awards annually, and if 2 are presented, 1 must go to a youth. As a matter of comparison, over the history of our lodge, Shenandoah Lodge has made over 300 Vigil Honor recognitions, but fewer than 70 Founders Awards presentations have been made, which underscores both the high level of service and the significant impact to the lodge made by the recipients. The fact that our lodge's very first Founders Award presentation in 1982 was made to Jim Gilkison further underscores the level of service represented by this recognition, as those who knew Jim personally can attest. This evening, we will be making 3 presentations, 1 from last year, and we are pleased to announce that the selection committee has chosen 2 more Founders Award recipients for this year who will be recognized tonight. The recognition of our first recipient this evening is quite frankly long overdue. A Vigil Honor member, he has been involved in scouting in his community for many years and in numerous capacities. He has served as a Scoutmaster and a district committee member. For 38 years, he was an instructor in the Stanton City Schools, where he taught technical education, peer counseling, and photography, and worked with at-risk students. He was the founding director of the Stanton Youth Football League, serving in that position for 12 years. He is a past lodge advisor of Shenandoah Lodge, and during the 1970s served as the camp director of Camp Shenandoah for several summers, choosing to spend his summers off from teaching in the service of our council's youth. It is very likely that this recipient would have received the Founders Award a long time ago, except that this award was not created until well after his involvement in the lodge at a high level. However, given his love of history, it is entirely fitting that he was chosen to receive the Founders Award in 2019, Shenandoah Lodge's 75th anniversary. Because of his love of history, this airman in the 1970s compiled, edited, and printed the SE1 Manual of Lodges for the Order of the Arrow, which included detailed histories of each of the 12 lodges that comprise SE1, officer listings, event dates and locations, and a comprehensive list of patches issued by each lodge. He did all of this at a time before computers and the internet existed, which certainly could not have been easy, but his work on this document was hugely impactful, as even to this day, the SE1 Manual of Lodges is used as the foundation upon which current section and lodge history books for this area are built. He has remained instrumental in researching our own lodge history, and he currently volunteers as an archivist for the Stanton Military Academy Museum in Fort Defiance. He is a Civil War scholar, having written and contributed to several books. A quintessential servant leader who has served our lodge and our community selflessly and with distinctions for more years than I have been alive. It is my privilege to present to you our first Founders Award recipient this evening, Brocky Nicely. Our second recipient tonight is a leader of the highest caliber. He has the ability and capacity to be in front of the group, and he shines when there. But he also is equally effective working behind the scenes. This airman is a former chapter chief and a ceremonialist with a deep interest in communications and videography and a compelling desire to serve. The year 2020 presented the perfect storm for which his skill set was designed. With the cancellation of our lodge events and the SR7A conclave, as well as the suspension of in-person meetings and activities, this airman provided the leadership that allowed Shenandoah to not only navigate this extraordinarily challenging situation, but to thrive during a time when many other lodges struggled. Thanks to his leadership, the lodge's LEC meetings moved to a virtual setting, not skipping a beat. He held training sessions for the chapter advisors on how to run chapter meetings virtually. The lodge hosted the nation's very first completely virtual fellowship in June and hosted various training sessions with guest speakers such as Southern Region Chief Seth Greiling and National Chief Zach Schoenfeld. In August, with COVID safety protocols and social distancing in place, he led our first lodge in-person get-together of the year, our annual August Fellowship, where Shenandoah was one of the first lodges in the country to successfully host an in-person induction weekend since March. This event also marked a new beginning for Shenandoah Lodge. With months of work coming to fruition and with the intent of being proactive, Shenandoah Lodge officially changed our lodge totem to the black bear, and this airman led the lodge's rebranding efforts. This honor camper is an Eagle Scout and a Vigil Honor member and served as our 2019-2020 Lodge Chief and currently serves as the SR7A Section Secretary. He is involved in national level OA communications and serves as a staff member of the National Leadership Seminar for the Southern Region. It is my privilege to present to you our second recipient of the Founders Award this evening, Eli Hattersley. Congratulations, Eli.
Thank you, Mike.
The nomination form for tonight's final recipient reads, "In my first interaction with this airman, he asked, 'How can I help?' And that has been my experience with him ever since. A doer from the unit level to the district level to the council level of scouting, this individual's contributions have had a tremendously positive impact on the scouting program, and our council and our lodge have greatly benefited from his servant leadership. A Vigil Honor member of Shenandoah Lodge, this scouter has served on troop committees for 2 different units and has served as a scoutmaster. He has completed Wood Badge training and was selected to serve as a staff member of the upcoming Wood Badge course. This individual exemplifies the ideal of an adult in the scouting program, using his time, talents, position, and influence for the betterment of our council and lodge. Leveraging his professional connections, he has been instrumental in helping to meet the gravel and stone needs at Camp Shenandoah. He is a longtime member of the Council's Properties Committee and currently serves on the Virginia Headwaters Council Executive Board in the role of Council Vice President for Properties. He has served in a number of advisor roles within our lodge, including part of the conclave leadership team, and can often be found on the cook staff at OA weekends, as service is a big part of who he is. For his outstanding work in scouting, he was honored by the Massanutten Presbyterian Church with the Celtic Cross, an adult religious award for scouters who make significant contributions to the youth programs at a Presbyterian church. A servant leader, a dedicated airman and scouter, and an outstanding human being, it is my privilege to present to you our final Founders Award recipient this evening, Jeff Holsinger.
All right, here we go. Come on along. an eye on the door now. We just presented Jeff Holsinger the Founders Award, Publishers Clearinghouse Style. Thank you, Jeff, for all you do for the scouting and for OA. Well deserved.
Thank you, Mike. And now we're back to Ben again for the Brotherhood of the Bow presentation.
Thank you, Isaac. It's now time for me to present the Brotherhood of the Bow. For those of you who don't know, the Brotherhood of the Bow is an award given out by the Lodge Chief to up to 2 other airmen who have been the greatest help to the Lodge Chief so far that year. So the 2 recipients for the Brotherhood of the Bow are my 2 Vice Chiefs, Leah Marshall and Ian Creel. Both of them, along with the rest of us, have been put to the test this year, and we have all come out on top, and a big part of that is the dedication of the 2 of them. So thank you again, Leah and Ian.
Hi, this time we're going to present the Spirit of the Arrow Award. The Spirit of the Arrow Award is presented by the Lodge Advisor to airmen who through their actions have given outstanding service to the Lodge. Last year we recognized Mr. Dennis Pupa for his efforts in support of the development of our youth and our American Indian activities. His sharing of his personal knowledge and his creativity and frugal methods of creating Native American crafting, and help revitalizing and bringing that process back to the Lodge. Unfortunately, COVID kind of put a quick stop to that, but we have a few examples of the work that Dennis has done, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank him once again for his generous donation to the Lodge of all the headdresses that he's accumulated and created over the years, and has now generously donated to the Lodge. So we're going to now show you a quick little shot of all the headdresses that he has donated. The second award for the Spirit of the Arrow, I'd like to recognize the medical crew. They are here every weekend that we have an event. They are largely unrecognized until we need them, and then we rely heavily upon their services and their skills and their talents and their treasures that they bring to the Lodge. Lisa Conrad, Linda Bales, James Kinder, Jonathan Kenny, even Ben Chisholm has jumped in and served during that time. At our events, the recipient this year did double duty by providing service at check-in during our August fellowship. In spite of the COVID restrictions that we had in place, provided that feedback and that guidance as we provided the very first in-person fellowship experience in the country. He serves on the camping committee. He's passionate about the health and services we provide to the youth in our program. And he spends countless hours at the lodge, the health lodge, during the summers. I know I've seen him out there every Tuesday night when the camping committee meets to review the reviews that we get. And I just wanted to take the time to say thank you. I've been in a number of committee meetings with Dennis where he has just absolutely stood on his soapbox and supported and promoted the fact that we really need to do a great job in providing health services to our campers when they're on camp. So on behalf of the Virginia Headwaters Council and Shenandoah Lodge, I'd like to present a certificate suitable for framing to Dennis Hogburn for his services on our medical staff. So thank you, Dennis. Hello, and welcome to the special recognition portion of our program today. I'd like to recognize Eli Hattersley, our former Lodge Chief. Yep, Eli Hattersley. What a wonderful job this young man has done over the course of what has been probably the most challenging year that not only the Boy Scouts but also the country has faced. He's done a wonderful job in providing leadership, being innovative, thinking outside the box, and continuing to challenge not only his fellow airmen but the adults in the program to continue to provide the programming that really is necessary for us to survive. So Eli, I'd like for you to come forward at this time. I know you're in civies, but I'd like to present to you on behalf of the Lodge this small token of our appreciation.
Really appreciate it.
It's not really small, but it's a token nonetheless. Why don't you go ahead and open it up? Tear the paper. Tear the paper. We're not going to save it.
Wow.
Yep. And that is a collection of all the patches that were issued during your role as lodge advisor. So, and it even includes the "You've got to be kidding me" patch. So, thank you for your service, Eli. We greatly appreciate it. And as I've said, over the years, I've worked with 5 different lodge chiefs, and each of you have had a unique set of skills that worked during your tenure. And certainly, I really couldn't think of very many other airmen who would have been able to handle and provide the leadership that you did over the course of the last year. So thank you for your service. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
And now for his final Lodge Advisor's Minute, here is Mr. Burke.
Well, thank you all for watching and being a part of the program. We're going to install our new Lodge Advisor in just a few moments, but I wanted to take this last opportunity to share a few thoughts, comments, and a Lodge Advisor's Minute. As the 2020 Winter Banquet came to a close, I noted that our success as a lodge in 2020 would rest with someone to step up and do what anybody could do, but what everybody should be doing. 2020 saw the lodge, our council, and the nation face significant challenges that continue to challenge us to be innovative and develop creative solutions in our everyday lives, the scouting program, and the Order of the Arrow. As a lodge, we face preparing for conclave and then its ultimate cancellation, the change of our council name, the change of our lodge totem, statewide restrictions on gatherings, the cancellation of our in-person events, the first virtual fellowship in the country, the first live ordeal induction, and the first live in-person fellowship, again, in the country since COVID basically shut down all in-person activities across the nation. All of the events of the past year required exceptional effort in coordination, collaboration, and flexibility in planning. Many hours of planning, readjusting the plan, scrapping the plan, and coming up with a new plan became the new way of doing things. It seemed at any moment we would be shifting to plan B, or C, or D, maybe even E. It was a challenge all year long. Through it all, and in spite of the challenges, the leadership team kept their focus on providing the programming to the membership. Over the years, Shenandoah Lodge has been led by a number of different leaders, each successful in their own right, and each providing leadership the lodge needed at that time. Our success over the years as a lodge rested on the shoulders and brotherhood of our lodge youth leadership, each lifting the burden from the previous executive team. As a lodge, we are once again moving into a new year with a new set of challenges, and I'm confident that our current leadership team will continue to meet the challenge. As they complete their term, new opportunities for brothers to step up will be presented. So as I move into a new role in the scouting program, the direction of the lodge is up to you. It lies squarely on your shoulders to determine how you will help Shenandoah Lodge to come together as a lodge and to continue to thrive. Shenandoah Lodge needs you. We need your talent. We need your creativity. We need your innovation. We need you to be an active participant now more than ever before. We need brothers who will be somebody, who will step up. So ask yourself, what will your role as the lodge works together to meet the future challenges we will all face as we move forward? Thank you, and in the cheerful brotherhood of service, I bid you good night.
We thank you, Mr. Burke, for your 5 long years of service to the lodge. And now a special presentation with Mr. Burke and Mr. Lindegren.
Let's do take 4.
That's all right. We're outside. We're outside having a good time here. Today marks another significant mark in the history of Shenandoah Lodge and the Virginia Headwaters Councils as we install a new lodge advisor. Before I ask Mr. John Lindegren to come forward, I would like to review what a lodge advisor does. As lodge advisor, you will work closely with the lodge chief as the chief leads the lodge. As a lodge advisor, you will work with the assigned staff advisor to manage the OA program for the Virginia Headwaters Council, ensure that the youth get the training and coaching needed to lead the lodge and other airmen in the lodge. And as lodge advisor, you will work with other adult airmen to ensure that proper support is given to programming that is planned. Mr. Lindgren, would you come forward at this time? It is the desire of the Virginia Headwaters Council to appoint you as Lodge Advisor of Shenandoah Lodge number 258. As you have heard, your main job is to advise the Lodge Chief and other officers and assist in their training and coaching as they develop the Lodge's program. Will you accept the nomination and serve as Lodge Advisor of Shenandoah Lodge number 258?
Yes.
Please raise your right hand in the Scout sign and repeat after me. I promise to do my best.
I promise to do my best.
To be worthy of my office as Lodge Advisor.
To be worthy of my office as Lodge Advisor.
For the sake of the Airmen in Shenandoah Lodge.
For the sake of the Airmen in Shenandoah Lodge.
The Scouts in the Virginia Headwaters Council.
The Scouts in the Virginia Headwaters Council.
And the World Brotherhood of Scouting.
And the World Brotherhood of Scouting.
Congratulations. It's not going to stay, so I'm going to just hand it off to you, non-contact. All right. Under the authority of the Virginia Headwaters Council, Boy Scouts of America, I hereby appoint you as Lodge Advisor of Shenandoah Lodge 258 and present you the insignia of your new office. I'd also like to provide to you the keys of the OA container and the shed of the OA shed up at the OA ceremonies ring. And to that, we are good to go. Congratulations, John.
Thank you very much. So I just wanted to take a quick minute to first and foremost to recognize, acknowledge, and thank Roger for his years of service to the Lodge. I know I've got some pretty big shoes to fill, so thank you very much for all your hard work. I know that we've got a whole load of amazing airmen in the Lodge, so I'm very humbled that I was asked to fulfill this role. And I really look forward to mentoring the youth leadership and working with all the other adults and really keeping 258 great. So thank you very much.
On behalf of the LEC, we look forward to working with you, Mr. Lindgren. And now, thank you all for coming to this winter banquet. Shenandoah Lodge has had an awesome year despite the many challenges of COVID-19. And we are looking forward to what this next year has to offer. We are very happy that you were able to attend virtually and how we were able to attend in person. And we can't wait to see you in person at Shenandoah again. Thank you all, and have a good night. After the closing remarks with Ben Chisholm.
Firm, bound in trust.